There's no criticism of your favorite football team that I ever find to be more convoluted than the one that cuts them up for having the highest paid defense. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates in the same place that you found this. The website, the 33rd Team, did a quantitative analysis over the weekend that showed, yet again, the Steelers in the 2025 NFL season will have the most expensive defense based on cap hits of all defenders who've been signed. Now, before you start saying, TJ Watt did it, remember, TJ is signed. TJ has a contract. And even though it's expected that TJ's extension would lower his cap hit on the team, it can't lower it enough to change the order atop this list. That's because the Steelers are showing a $178 million cap hit for signed defensive players. The Giants are second in this category with 152. So there's a pretty big $26 million gap. So where is all this money going? Well, TJ is listed at $30.4 million. Minkah Fitzpatrick at $22.3 million, which kind of makes you hope they, get him involved again. Cam Hayward at $19.6 million. And from there, you work your way to the Alex Highsmith, Patrick Queen, with Alex at $18.6 million, Queen at $17.7 million. And then down to Darius Slay at $10 million. He's the last of the 8-figure guys on that side of the football. And that's 6 of those guys. The Steelers' top 5 paid players are all on the defensive side. So what's wrong with criticism, you might ask? What's the problem with thinking or saying that if they're the highest paid, they should also be the highest performing? Well, the correct answer, of course, is nothing. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just an opinion on sports, right? You have one, I have one, we all have one. Okay, big whoop. The part that gets me is the apparent suggestion within that criticism that the Steelers could have or should have done something else with this money. The reason, and I do mean singular, that the Steelers have the highest paid defense in recent years now is that, repeat after me, they don't pay a quarterback. Even now, when their highest paid offensive player, at least for the coming year as far as cap hits go, is the new starting quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, with a $14.15 million cap hit, you're still coming nowhere near paying the going $50 million plus rate at that position. And because of that, and because of the rest of the offense being built still mostly on younger players or draft picks, or in the case of Jaylen Warren, an undrafted player who worked his way up but still isn't going to get very much because he's a running back. He's at $5.3 million, for example. Your next highest paid offensive player is Pat Freiermuth at $12.9 million, and Freiermuth was just coming off of his first contract. This was his first extension. But then you go to where people really spend money now on offense, meaning non-quarterbacks. That's the offensive line. And what the Steelers have tried to do, instead of putting in $1 zillion into tackles specifically, they went and put a first-round pick in an offensive tackle, and then another first-round pick in an offensive tackle, and then a second-round pick in a center. Their right guard is a second-year player. Their left guard is the only one being paid. Isaac Seumalo is at $10.2 million. So where do you want to spend this money? Where do you want to take this money and reapportion it away from the defense? Oh, I know where that is, because it's also where I want it to go. And that would be WR2. But here's the thing. They still have that. They can still do that. their current projected cap space is $18.9 million. I always feel the need to point out that there's always around $5 million that any NFL GM wants to keep in their figurative pocket entering the season in case there are needs, in case there's something that they can pick up at the trade deadline, that it involve a cap imbalance of some sort. But between this available cap space, however you choose to look at it, whether it's $18.9 million or $13.9 million, then factor in what the cap savings will be from the TJ extension. Then factor in, and this is kind of important, that other than TJ, there's not a certainty for a hard extension pursuit in training camp. They might try to extend Calvin Austin. They also might not. They might try to extend Jalen. They also might not. They're absolutely going to get TJ done. So you have even more available. And depending on what kind of WR2 it is that you want, or how you get that player, probably not free agency at this point. But if you add them through a trade, you have to make sure that you can withstand the cap hit. I don't know of anybody who'd be in that category that they couldn't afford. So you don't have to move anything from the defensive side, even just in your head to make yourself feel better. Yes, of course, the defense should be really good, meaning you have a reasonable expectation that they'd be good. You're paying money into it. You're paying 5 guys over there more than you're paying anybody on offense, but there are reasons for it. Ideally, someday there won't be. When we come back, J1Q. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents injured people in automobile accidents, workers' compensation cases, and medical malpractice claims. The attorneys at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George pride themselves in doing what they say they're going to do. It's important to them that when they make you a promise, they keep that promise. And this law firm has been keeping promises for over 80 years. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has been AV rated. That's the highest rating a law firm can receive for legal ability and ethics. And the lawyers at the firm have been designated super lawyers, that's a real thing, for over 15 years. Rare combination there. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them at lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. Again, that's 888-842-5454. Today's J1Q comes from Ron, who asks, DK, with Arthur Smith being back for a second year, Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf now here, do you think Mike Tomlin changes his philosophy of not caring what the Steelers do on offense in the first quarter, meaning his repeated statements about how wins are earned in the fourth quarter, but is more willing to live less in his fears to put some points on the board early in the game? Before I answer, Ron, since you bring up Coach Smith, I want to express my deep condolences to him and his family and loved ones on the loss of Frederick Smith, his father, who also was the founder of the FedEx Corporation. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Smith backstory, and it became pretty commonly known in the football world from his head coaching tenure in Atlanta, but Arthur Smith was born into, as you can imagine, an awful lot of not just security, but wealth, and didn't have to do any of this football coaching stuff that he's been doing his whole life. It just happens to be his passion. Mr. Smith also had time as a part owner of the Washington football franchise, and he served as a United States Marine 2 tours in Vietnam before forming FedEx in 1973. He was 80. To the football question that you ask, there are times when Tomlin says things that I don't actually believe that he means. And let me try to properly, at least I think, frame the way Tomlin answers that question when it comes up at post-game press conferences, which is what you're referring to, and it's the only time that it comes up. Because someone like me will be in that room and will bring up something that happened in the first quarter or even the second quarter, and what you'll get back from him is that it's immaterial because the game would have been, I don't know, either tied or close in the fourth quarter. And you have to understand everything about Tomlin's mindset is in the now. That's why, other than the attempt with Kenny Pickett, you haven't seen the Steelers get serious about a full-blown process toward setting up a franchise quarterback. And yet again, now this summer, that remains the case. And no, waiting till the 6th round to get Will Howard isn't it. Doesn't mean I'm dismissing Howard. I'm saying that that's not the thing. That's not the indicator that, things are different. They're not. He handles games no differently. When he comes off the field, he says something to his players. He's in there for a few minutes. Then he comes and stands behind a podium and in front of us. He's still out there. He's still living in that quarter that just ended. So as awkward or even awful as that might come across when he says it, I'm just at least trying to explain what I think he means in that moment, because he's always living in that moment. Does he want to score more points in the first quarter? Yes, of course he does. Does he want to prevent more points in the first quarter? Little known thing here, the Steelers allowed more of those than any team in the NFL last year with 112. Yes. Would he want his team to be, in general, better prepared than it was? Yes. Can he take steps toward doing that? Sure he can. Will he? I don't know. But will he avoid doing such a thing because he doesn't believe in the first quarter? Heck no. Come on. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. We'll be back with another one of these tomorrow.